granular synthesis. Like it basically takes the sound and like breaks it off into smaller chunks, like break you off some. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like low-key some calculus, like some integration, like the Riemann sum type. That's what I'm saying, bro. If you want to make better melodies, you got to be on your calculus shit. Like that's just facts. Like, yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to show you guys some cool ways to process your melodies, basically how to take an average melody and then make it sound crazy. So I'm just gonna break down 5 different techniques I use to process melodies. And as always, before we get started, make sure to go tap in with me on social media at inquires. But let's lock in. So if you want to make crazy melodies, the thing you got to understand is like it's all about how you process the sounds. Like the sound selection itself is important, but you can definitely transform sounds to make it crazy. So the first processing technique I like to do a lot is something I call blurred melodies. You know, it's a crazy atmospheric melody with a cool texture. So this is the melody that I blurred, and you can see what I mean by that. You know, instead of like individual notes, it's more of like a blur of sound that's kind of produced by the effects that I put on here. Without the effects, it sounds very different. The rhythm is really random because I was just playing this. You know, I knew that I wanted to make a texture out of this melody, so I didn't really care about like it being so offbeat. So the first effect that I actually put on here is Portal with this ratio chaser preset. I like using Portal a lot for like textures and stuff because it does something called granular synthesis, which basically means like it basically subdivides the sound into like smaller sections and then applies like weird effects on it. So with this preset, it kind of makes it sound like this. You know, it's just adding that background kind of texture, like that twinkle. And then the main thing I recommend for making the sound more blurred out is to use effect tricks. And I really like to use the stretch and reverse. And this is what it sounds like. You know, now it's like it doesn't really matter that the original was like off beat because now this kind of puts it on beat. It kind of like chops it up in a really cool way. Next, I kind of felt like that was too high, kind of in the higher register. So I just halftime it to bring it down an octave. You know, it's already getting there, like you're getting a really cool rhythm out of it. And then I just put Valhalla and then some chorus also. And yeah, as you can see, that's pretty much my full chain right here. And if I mute it, you can see how different it sounds before. It just adds a really cool texture to this melody. So this is another example of a loop where I blurred the melody. You can kind of see that it's a crazy pattern, but without the effect, it sounds like this. I just kind of freestyled this little lick on my keyboard. And for the effects, you can see again, I'm using effect tricks and using the stretch and reverse a lot. And then I just added some super basic delay and then tremolator, just kind of gate the melody a little bit. And then I just used it as a texture, you know, just space them out a little bit. So the next really cool processing trick that I like using a lot is reversing melodies. It's a really cool like reverse trick, and I also used it over here. So this is the guitar part I have. I added this reverse note just to kind of build up to this next section. But the more obvious section was this piano. So this is the original pattern that I reversed. And then I just put halftime on there, and this is what you get after. So that's the initial pattern, but I wanted to add a reverse texture on top. So what you got to do is go into this wrench and then hit flip. or you can press Alt Y also. So what you want to do is just check this flip horizontal button and make sure this is unchecked and press accept. So basically what that is reverse the order of every note. So it's kind of reversed, but not really. So it's going to sound like really weird because the notes are in a different order now. But what you want to do now is render the pattern as audio. All right, so now we have this. You know, obviously it sounds really weird because the notes are kind of messed up, but what you want to do is now reverse this over here, and this is going to put the notes back in the same order, but it's going to sound reversed because like all the notes are swelling up, as you can see. So then I just kind of chopped that up like this. And also I pitched it up an octave, so you get this after. But to make this texture match with the original, I just kind of put some effects on here. I put halftime, tremolator, and some pancake to kind of make it pan around your ears. And this is what you get after. Another important thing that I did to make this texture kind of fit with this melody is I used this Valhalla shimmer automation. And this brings me to my third tip, which is to use reverbs on ascend and just automate the reverb to create subtle atmospheric textures. So I'm using Valhalla shimmer, which is kind of like a super ambient reverb. And just basically I'm automating the shimmer to only come in when there's a gap over here. So basically the texture stops playing and then the ambience kind of fills in the space that's left blank. And that just adds a really subtle kind of ear candy layer. This is another melody where I automate the reverb like that. If you're wearing headphones, pay attention to the right side. Like there's going to be this kind of swelling of sound coming in. So this is the layer that I automated. As you can see, this high layer automation is what's bringing the reverb in and out. It's kind of like a wave. So this is the original melody layer. And I just panned it slightly to the left, and I sidechained it to a mixer track just for the shimmer, you know, the reverb. And then I just right clicked on here and created an automation. And then I'm just automating the gain into the reverb. And then on the shimmer track, I have the shimmer. Also, I put flanges just to give it more stereo image. And then I pan this to the right, you know, just to give it a really cool image. Finally, you get this. It's the really kind of subtle sound design things that make the melody more interesting. All the subtle textures really add a lot to a melody. But yeah, as you can see, I'm automating a lot of parameters. So then my fourth melody processing tip is just to use a lot of like low pass filters and automate it. So this is what I mean by that. So you can see what I'm doing right here is I just have a regular parametric EQ and I'm just automating this to go up and down. And what I'm doing is changing the automation in every section just to kind of give it a different bounce. I'm just kind of slowly bringing it up just to kind of make it build up and fall down again, you know. This is another melody where I do a lot of like low pass automations. So I'm automating this low pass filter just to kind of make it sound more wavy. So this is what's happening. And my last tip is like you can use EQ such as like a low pass filter to cut out certain frequencies to kind of help you layer different melodies and fit things together. So I'm cutting most of the high end of this melody. So this gives me like a low bass melody. And what I did is I just layered this really high bell on top of it. The low pass kind of helps this stand out because these two don't really interfere. And then next I added this more atmospheric kind of lead. And Another important tip when layering is like you want to layer sounds that are kind of different in texture. You want to have a good combination of like ambient and high attack kind of pluggy sounds, because the ambient sounds really fill the background, you know, and make the sample sound wide, but then the high attack sounds kind of make the sample stand out and make it more bouncy. But yeah, that's the last tip. You know, don't be afraid to layer like weird sounds together and get crazy textures going. And that's pretty much all I got for today's video. And if you guys enjoyed this video and learned some new things, make sure to run it up, you know, give it a like and comment below what you thought of it. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. But that's all I got for this one, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.